Hello, everybody. Slothalopolis here with the Average Gamer guys, playing and talking about some PUBG, a game I really didn't want to play, a game I really didn't want to buy, and a game I really didn't want to spend a decent amount of time and effort into. I'm just really not a fan of the beta launches, the unfinished game launches. I think it really sets a bad precedent as developers and as business people and as consumers. But this is a game that I kind of ended up getting nevertheless, and it's a game that I'm actually growing to like. So I came in extremely skeptical of this game. Played a lot of Fortnite, which is a very similar setup. This battle royale, 100 people, squads or singles or duos, going all up against each other, 100 people at a time. And while neither one is a new idea in particular, um, I definitely felt like at first glance and at first play that Fortnite was more successful in just about every single way. Um, Not really an opinion I think I would continue to carry over because both games I think are actually really fun and I actually really enjoy them, but I enjoy them for very different reasons. Fortnite is just much more fast-paced than PUBG is. PUBG's really focused on some of the small, intricate details, which is kind of ironic for the game because it needs a lot of polish to be a really solid game moving forward into the future because the the skeleton is there, the bones are there, and they're good, but really the thing that's going to continue to plague especially console consumers and console gamers are things like the frame rate. Driving around passenger seat of a car is god awful. It's eye cancer. I mean, you're looking like single digit frames per second, and it literally makes me motion sick. I have to pull up a menu or a map so that I'm not looking around me while my partner is driving the vehicle. It's really bad. But with that said, I mean, the game also launched and people couldn't even finish matches. Things were lagging out like crazy. People were running in the same circles over and over and couldn't help it. Uh, there's a lot of things that this game really struggled with at first, and I mean, even looking at a week or two after launch, pretty decent improvements. Now that probably is really indicative of this game not needing to be out because it does suffer those issues, but therein lies the danger with purchasing a game that's not done. That's a pretty big danger as a consumer to continue to do that. That's really where my trepidation lie in purchasing a game like this that's not done and just hoping it's going to be okay one day. Because honestly, I don't feel like the engine that this game is based off of, the engine that this game runs, to get all of this and to get the things that the game is really trying to finish and to build off of, I don't think it's there. Even on PC, the game suffers a lot. Just as far as not being able to run things like it should, and not really having the performance that it should. So looking at this game with its frame rate issues and compare it to a game like Fortnite that I just talked about, they can have that many people. Graphics are definitely a different issue, but the frame rate and stuff is fantastic. The connection is fantastic. But with that, I mean, there are quite a few differences. Uh, Things that I'm really going to look for in PUBG to maybe tweak and look to either adjust or change or do something with moving into the future. The map's too big. I think there's a little bit too much of this swimming or running around and just trying to catch up. If you don't get lucky and get a decent spot for where you land initially, there's a pretty decent chance you're going to be chasing the circle for the entirety of the rest of the game. And that gets a little frustrating. It's hard to loot, it's hard to grab stuff, which I'll get to in just a second. But it's hard to spend time on getting things and getting prepped and feel like you're actually doing something with the game other than just chasing a circle. The other portion of this is I've actually been really surprised by how well the streaming people have done for this game, because honestly, this game is boring to watch, in my opinion. Running around and picking up items off the ground for 30 minutes at a time is not super fun to watch. Honestly, it to its credit, it feels good to do it. It doesn't feel super boring to run around and grab stuff all the time. But honestly, if we're gonna look at a future of esports for this game, which I've already heard a lot of talk of, that's something that's gonna have to change. We're gonna have to have some sort of different game mode or play style. Something has to give, because we can't have 100 different people spending 30 minutes getting set for a big battle and then kind of having things go down when the circles get small. So just something doesn't really jive there. You want the skeleton, you want the spirit of this game, but it has to be done correctly. And that's just something that I worry about pretty heavily with the future of this. Hit detection and things like that are, again, things that I think are definitely going to hold this game back long term if they're not addressed properly. But bottom line, this is a game that I came in very skeptical of, and I didn't want to play, but it's won me over a little bit. I actually enjoy spending some time on this game. It's still really frustrating about some stupid things and some glitches and some bugs that we're continuing to see. But at a certain point, it's my fault for buying a game that's not complete. But these are things that I really hope that we can build off of and maybe get a solid game at some point. I think that would be pretty cool, to have a pretty decent game if we can work on the pacing and stuff. Um, this is probably a game that has some staying power, moving into the future. So feel free to tell me anything that I got wrong or you disagree with or anything like that. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear the feedback, and how you guys are enjoying the game yourselves. So for the Average Gamer guys, for Doc, I am Sloth, and I will see you next time.